Is it possible that your health issues that you're facing right now could be due to leaky gut? If so, we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you 4 steps that you can take to help heal the leaky gut even without doing any testing. Hey guys, Dr. D here with AlphaOmegaWellness.com. Last week we were talking about how food impacts our mood, and I promised you another video this week where I was going to talk about how to fix leaky gut. You see, there's this concept that leaky gut leads to leaky brain, and I've seen it multiple times. And if we heal the gut, the brain can actually get better. So for me personally, I can look back at the times in my life when my health was at its worst, and I guarantee you that my nutrition was not on point, my gut was a mess, and I was suffering from increased intestinal permeability, what you've also heard described as leaky gut. And as I've done the things to get myself healthier, my health, including my mood, has gotten markedly better. If you find this information is helpful, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, and that way I can keep bringing good content to you every week. Let's initially talk about why it's important to fix leaky gut and if that is even something that exists. Well, I'll tell you, traditional medicine used to say that increased intestinal permeability, leaky gut wasn't a thing. I mean, in functional medicine, we've been talking about it for 35 years. But in the past 10 to 15 years, it's actually made its way into the gastroenterology literature. Gastroenterologists are the GI doctors. And so it is actually a thing. And the reason that it's important to you is that when we are suffering from this leaky gut, we're letting these chemicals, these proteins, and even some toxins into the bloodstream that were never supposed to get in there. And so things that cause leaky gut, they're actually damaging the cells that line the intestines, affecting absorption, but also affecting spaces between these cells called tight junctions. And so we're getting these proteins in that shouldn't be there. And that can lead to autoimmune issues. It can lead to mental health issues. It can lead to issues with energy and migraines. I mean, you name it. And leaky gut can probably at least contribute to it. So how are we going to go about fixing leaky gut, and do I even need a test? Well, I'm going to encourage you to take some steps to start working on fixing it, even independent of testing. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is consume a diverse array of foods. You see, the food that we're consuming, it's not just feeding us, it's feeding these millions or billions of microbes in our gut. And so if we're consuming an inflammatory diet, we talked previously about how that affects our mental health and our body, but it also affects our gut. And that consumption of inflammatory foods is causing the overgrowth of wrong bacteria in the gut, and it's causing the gut itself to be leaky. So if you start consuming a diverse array of foods, so all the colors of the rainbow, also getting in some fermented foods like kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, if you're getting in some soluble and insoluble fibers, you're on your own through just what you eat, you're going to start treating leaky gut and getting your gut healthier, which in turn is going to help a whole host of illnesses and diseases. The second way that I want you to improve leaky gut is I want you to eliminate toxins. So anything that is having a negative impact on the gut that we're consuming is going to be considered a toxin here. The top players for causing leaky gut are NSAIDs. So when you're popping ibuprofen and naproxen and these other anti-inflammatory medications, that is directly affecting the permeability of the gut. Permeability is the gut's ability to keep out things that it should and allow through things that it should, right? And so when we are consuming non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, that causes that permeability to increase, and we're getting things into the body that weren't supposed to be in there. Another big culprit is proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, the things with the trade names like Prilosec and Protonix, and everybody's on these, right? Well, we're mostly on them because we're consuming foods that cause us to have heartburn and gastritis. Rather than eliminating the foods, we take a pill. Well, that pill has downstream effects, and one of the downstream effects of PPIs is leaky gut. Another one, dare I say, toxin that we should eliminate or cut back is alcohol, because alcohol wreaks havoc in our gut. Now, am I saying that you can never have a drink? No, I mean everything in moderation, but just understanding when you do, especially when you do that on a consistent basis, it's negatively impacting your gut health. So let's say that you're dialing in on your nutrition, you're getting rid of the NSAIDs and the PPIs. What else can you do? Well, there's an amino acid called glutamine that is very helpful at restoring the lining of the gut. In fact, if you look at multiple different companies, they'll create what they call a GI medical food. And this stuff is packed with nutrition. But one of the key ingredients in most of those is glutamine, because glutamine itself can actually heal the gut and cause it to not have increased permeability, cause it to not be leaky. Now, that doesn't mean that you can just start taking some glutamine and still eat the inflammatory diet and still pop the Prilosec and the ibuprofen, right? All of these things have to work in conjunction, but glutamine is a great supplement to help improve your gut health. Now, the fourth way that I'm going to help you to decrease leaky gut in your body is this idea of rest and digest. So what do I mean by that? Well, I don't mean eating right before you go to bed, because that's a bad idea. I mean when it's time to eat, that also should be your trigger to slow down, to pause. When you're grabbing fast food, even if it's healthy, and you're eating on the run in your car, that's not creating the environment in your body that it needs to adequately digest the food. So eating under a stressed situation actually itself causes leaky gut. So what's that look like? Well, it looks like clearing out some time and actually having a meal. Prayer before a meal, that pause, that increases something that we call parasympathetic tone. I've talked on here previously about that. And that's the body getting ready for rest and relaxation, but also digestion. And what that's going to do is it's going to create the environment in the gut for the body to break down the foods that we're consuming, for us to absorb adequately the nutrition that we should be getting out of that. And it creates an environment in which the right microbes, the right bacteria in the gut grow appropriately, and you don't get overgrowth of the bad bacteria like you get when you're constantly in this fight or flight situation. So rest when you digest, have some mindfulness involved, and then utilize that concept throughout the day to just pause and rest, take some deep breaths, stay grounded in the moment, mindfulness. Any of these things that you practice will actually help improve your gut health. Now, if you're like me and how I used to be, I knew nothing about nutrition and what was good or bad. I mean, I knew the donuts were bad and the French fries were probably bad, but I didn't know anything about plant nutrients, phytochemicals. And so if you struggle with that and you're like, well, I didn't know what to get at the grocery store, I've got a free gift for you. If you head over to alphaomegawellness.com/grocery list, we're going to get you a free PDF in which we go over 10 phytonutrients, 10 plant-based nutrients that are going to be helpful for improving your nutrition, decreasing inflammation in your body, even helping your mental status, your mood. And I just want to offer that to you for free. So alphaomegawellness.com/grocery list, and we will provide you with some information so that the next time you go shopping, you'll be like, oh, these are the things that my body needs in order to be optimized, because you don't need to get everything that your body needs through a pill or a supplement. You can actually get it naturally, which is probably the best way to get it. Hey, listen, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I just want you to know that I enjoy coming on here and bringing you information, because I want to see your health and wellness elevate over time. And I think if we keep having a dialogue and I can walk you on the journey that I'm on, then I can actually just bring value to you. But I do want to point out that I believe that ultimately there's one healer, and that's Jesus. And even if that's not your worldview, I'm just going to encourage you to look into that. Jesus' brother James said in James 1:17, every good and perfect gift comes from above. And so for me, that's actually transformed my life. Not only, I think, healed my depression, it's healed my relationships. It's just been such a game changer. And so if you don't have a relationship with him, at least start exploring that. Look into it, because maybe that's the thing that you need to really change up what's going on in your life. And maybe you can find peace and joy and contentment and abundance and love. Until next time, God bless you. I love you guys.